At 21, they probably need some help at quarterback, and Aaron Rodgers is sounding less and less like it's going to be him. He was on McAfee yesterday. He says he's still undecided about his future and that retirement is still on the table. He added there are things going on in his personal life that are currently taking precedence over anything related to football. As specifically regarding the Steelers, here's part of what he said.
This entire time, I haven't felt like I owed anybody some sort of decision at any point. And I've been upfront with him and said, listen, if you need to move on, if you need to do something, by all means, like nothing but love and respect. But there's been no deadline, and yeah, I've talked to Mike T many times.
If you were to play again, does it feel like it would probably be for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Well, again, I'm going back to it, but I am trying to be open to everything and not specifically attached to anything when it comes to this decision. I'm not holding anybody hostage. I really want to emphasize that.
Okay, put your feet up. We got a lot of time, and we got. Are you all right?
I dozed off there.
Okay.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Graziano is ready for this conversation. Okay, so that was just a taste of what was a lengthy conversation in which he had a lot to say. How would you summarize, Dan, if you were to, the news value of the things that he said as regards the National Football League and in particular the Pittsburgh Steelers?
It had no news value whatsoever. We'll get to it, but the stuff about the Jets is really the only interesting thing he said. There's nothing, the Steelers don't seem all that excited about bringing in Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers doesn't seem all that excited about going to the Steelers, but there's still a possibility. It's like two friends in like high school and college who make a pact. Hey, when we turn 40, if we're still not married, do you want to get married? Like that's what's going on here with Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, and who knows how it turns out. He's 40, yeah, exactly.
He's not married.
So there's a lot of parallels. So look, I think yesterday's interview, big picture, if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, it gives me reservations about, I would think about pulling back my offer, because everything negative about this guy, personality-wise, was on display in full view in that interview, and you have to wonder, if you're the Steelers, like, what are we really getting ourselves into?
Greedy, what Graz just said, from a GM's perspective, Coach Parcells' words were reverberating. When a player's talking about being retired, they are retired. That did not sound like a person that was prepared to be a starting NFL quarterback and the rigors of a 17-game season, which is fine. It's over. If I'm the Steelers, it is over. We're moving on.
Yeah, so here's what I would say I agreed with. He doesn't owe them anything. He's never been a part of them. He doesn't have an agreement with them, whatever it is. But the flip side of it is, if I'm the Steelers, I am 100% making other plans. Their off-season program starts on Monday. Like, the time to make this decision. Look, I didn't make the schedule. He didn't make the schedule. Mike Tomlin didn't make the schedule. The NFL schedule is what it is. If you were going to join a new team and start a whole new thing, and to your point, try and win a championship, which is the only purpose of doing all of this in the first place for a guy who's got $300 million, the time to start that is Monday. And if you watched the interview and listened yesterday, this is a man who was nowhere near being ready to show up someplace and start working on Monday. If I'm the Steelers, as of yesterday, I am making other plans, whatever those might be, whether that is in the draft, whether it's talking to other teams about do they have a backup quarterback we can trade for, whatever the case may be. I'm going in other directions. Now, what I want to ask you is, if you're a player on the Steelers, and they got a lot of them that we know, just to throw a dart at a Steeler, and he's a famous person, what are you thinking as you watch that?
You just said it. Monday, off-season workout start. We're sitting in the locker room, and we're talking about Rodgers, and guys have probably watched that interview or saw the quotes from him, and it's just like, listen, dude, if you don't want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler, that's fine. You don't owe us anything, but let us know that so we can move on as a team, because I don't want a guy in my locker room that is unsure at this point if he wants to play. Listen, Rodgers joined the Jets in the first year. He was there at off-season workouts. He was building those relationships. Brady, when he first left New England, he went to Tampa Bay. He was there. He was throwing with guys. He was doing all the necessary things to be ready when games started. Rodgers isn't doing that right now, and I can't blame him. He's 41. He doesn't know whether he wants to play football or not. But if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers and I'm in that locker room, if you don't know if you don't want to play with us, that's fine and dandy. Leave us be.
That's why the one confounding thing in all of this, and Alan is in here. Alan, for those of you who don't know, New York talk show host as well as all the other duties here. So you've sort of been chronicling the Aaron Rodgers saga up close and personal the last 2 years. The throwing with DK Metcalf is the one piece of this that felt like his. There was the video. They were at UCLA and he's throwing to DK Metcalf, and by some stroke of miracle, there was a camera there to record every part of it. The point is, they wanted the world to know
he wants to play.
You think he
wants to play?
Then
what he doesn't want to do is beg to play. He wants you to beg him. He wants you to want him. That's exactly what this is all about, in my opinion, watching Aaron Rodgers. He wants to play, but he doesn't want to look like he's desperate. He wants to be wanted.
I totally disagree. I know what it's like to talk to a player that wants to come and try to help compete for a championship. What he said yesterday had nothing to do with something like somebody that wants to do that. Here's what's interesting to me. Art Rooney at the Palm Beach, at the Breakers.
Owner of the Steelers.
Yeah, owner of the Steelers at the league meeting. Talked about, we think something's imminent. We think something's likely. An owner/president doesn't come out and say that, Greeny, unless they really feel that way. Juxtapose that to what Aaron Rodgers said yesterday, Alan. I think we're a million miles away from this guy wanting to be a Steeler.
I think it's more about the situation where, are you going to bring in a young quarterback? Is it going to be me? Is it my job? I think Aaron Rodgers is at a point in his career where he's starting to realize that he's not Aaron Rodgers. It was great to be Aaron Rodgers for a long time in the NFL because he was royalty and he was treated as such. Even when he did things and he went off the rails a couple of times, there were still a lot of people that had his side, had his back. I think that's going away now, and he's starting to see it. This last year in New York showed him that. And the fact that the Jets dismissed him the way they did dismiss him, I think that's affected him. He wants to play, he wants to stay Aaron Rodgers, but he can't be the Aaron Rodgers he's been his whole career.
And to your point, Han, that's a tough pill to swallow for every professional athlete because you do hit a point in your career where you have to stretch for a lot longer before you go out there on the football field. You hit a point where you're no longer that superstar or people don't look at you as such. So for Rodgers to that point, you get out there on the football field as a New York Jets last year, and now you're healthy, you're ready to go, and it doesn't look the same. It doesn't feel the same. And then you become a free agent.
And the guys see it.
Phone's not buzzing. Exactly. Yeah. And now you're not looked at the same. So that decision to still play, I remember hearing Kobe Bryant say, like, I'm not going to continue to play and average 17 points a game. For Rodgers, are you still going to play and not be that level of quarterback that you were throughout your entire career?
And I think that's tied into the Steelers' end of this, right? Because you're not getting, if he signs with you, you're not getting MVP Aaron Rodgers. You're getting a diminished version. And that's probably why they haven't pursued him harder, right? Like they have Mason Rudolph. They feel like that what they're saying is they're okay going into the season with Mason Rudolph as a starter. They have the 21st pick in the draft and likely an opportunity to draft a quarterback if there's one there that they like. So there are other options as the offseason goes along. Maybe if, depending on what happens in the draft with the Browns or the Giants, maybe they have a spare quarterback at some point this offseason. Maybe you can trade for Kirk Cousins once the draft is over and he knows there's not going to be somebody there taking his job. So Mike Tomlin will say the player acquisition phase, lasts, for months, and they're still in it. So Aaron Rodgers is one possibility, but I don't think the Steelers are tearing themselves up hoping and praying that he eventually signs with them.
Greeny, here's the sober reality. If you took his name off the back of his jersey and it was Smith or Jones, this is from Hembo, the last 2 years, this is 34 games, guys. He's 13-21, and the teams he's been on have averaged 20 points a game. He's an average, diminished skill player. Yeah. He's an all-time great, and we should honor that and respect that. But if the five of us were running the Pittsburgh Steelers and we had to go get a winning quarterback, that's not Aaron Rodgers anymore. And to your point, with work starting on Monday, you have an ability to get better. By him not showing up, like, it's over. And if we're the Steelers, we got to move on.
But at this point, do you want a diminished Aaron Rodgers with those stats, or do you want Mason Rudolph? So I think that's the part where the Pittsburgh Steelers, they didn't go after Sam Darnold. They tried to get Justin Fields, but it was after the fact. They didn't try to sign Russell Wilson. So right now you're looking at it, and the cupboard is bare. It's Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson who's in their quarterback room right now.
Jason, the way we answered that question in 2009 was Brett Favre left. It was Rex Ryan and I, and we had Kellen Clemens, who's a wonderful human being. We were determined to go up.
So was my wife.
That's the top of the list.
Play quarterback.
Tell me about your quarterback. Well, he's a wonderful human person.
That's not where you want him.
And we went up to 5, and we got Mark Sanchez. And my sense, or what I think Pittsburgh should do, same mindset. We are getting a quarterback. Like, we are going to go until glass breaks, whatever it takes. We aren't negotiating in the draft. Greeny, we are paying the bill, and we're getting a quarterback.
Well, they can do that. Look, it depends on if they identify one very particular one they want, because they pick at 21. There will be quarterbacks that some people like available at 21. The question is there one in particular they like? And the big question mark in that is Shedeur Sanders. Will he be there or not? Ask 10 different people, you're going to get 10 different answers of what they expect on that. That's really where the intrigue is in this draft. You're going to hear so many opinions on what Rodgers said yesterday. I want to make sure that mine is clear, because I don't know that it is here. I don't have any problem with Rodgers feeling the way he feels. He's a 40-year-old man with a million options. He has eagled the whole of life when it comes to football. He's one of the greatest players of all time. He's made $300 million, and he's going to have a lot of options in what he wants to do going forward. I have no problem with him no longer feeling this burning desire to play, which I think at that age you need to have. Look at Tom Brady. He was, in the best possible way, a psycho about wanting to kid, right? And you understand the way I mean that?
Yes.
Rodgers doesn't seem like he's that way, and that's fine. The problem is, if you're the Steelers, yesterday, if I'm watching that, if I'm the Steelers, I'm like, other plan. Whatever the other plan is, it's better than this, because this does not look to me like a person who wants to invest absolutely everything into what we're about to do here, and that's what is required. That is the job description, and frankly, Rodgers knows that. So if I'm the Steelers, as of yesterday, I'm moving in other directions. I don't know what they are, but I'm moving in other directions.
I'm not sure how much that costs them. I'm not sure how much better they're going to be if Aaron Rodgers is their quarterback versus what they have. He was not a good player last year. Like the number, 30th in completion percentage, 25th in QBR.
Yeah, they're living off
the worst starting quarterbacks in the league.
He's living off, and this was a big conversation in New York between fans about whether or not you want him back, because the end of the season is where the offense finally started to click a little bit, and his numbers got better to a point where he ended up having one of the best seasons the quarterbacks had in Jets history. Now, I understand it's Jets history. I get it. But still, that was part of the argument. Hey, maybe he found it. Maybe he figured it out. Maybe the body got there after the Achilles injury, and that was a big source of debate.
29th in QBR after the Jets bye, which met with 5 games left in the season. So that's anecdotal. He actually didn't play well. And that's, I don't know.
Here's what I'll say. In my opinion, and that's all it is, they would have been better off than they are now if Aaron Rodgers had been committed to this and had signed with them a month ago or whatever, and he was all in. I would rather have that than Mason Rudolph as my starting quarterback. But that's not what the option is that's being presented to them. So where does that leave them? Well, let's pick up what happened yesterday.
Kinh quá. Chính xác cái lão đấy ra. Chào cả mọi người đã quay trở lại.